Microphone two.
Hi, my name is Jeff Kirby. I work at Oakville Public as an information assistant and work the reference desk. And I just want to say you're awesome and you're in great company. Come visit in time. So the other thing is, I'm completely with you, El Farouk, about not wanting to have public funding for religious education. And I'm wondering, efforts going towards that, and not only to seize public funding, but to tax the churches out of existence.
Microphone two. Hi, my name is Sam Everett, and first of all, I'd really like to congratulate you guys as well. I also was a student at a Catholic high school growing up, but I was closeted at that point, and nowhere near as courageous as you guys are. So congratulations to you. Please keep up the good work. Keep fighting the good fight. Perhaps out of some kind of residual Catholic guilt, I'm now an openly gay teacher, albeit at a public school. And in many ways, this is actually kind of a response to Rupa's comment earlier. I teach at a French language public school in North York, which also has a large Muslim community. And it's very well known at my school that I am openly gay as a result of an anti-homophobia workshop that I conducted earlier this year. And the consequences of that have been both good and bad. And definitely there have been some bad things, Rupa. So I guess this is in response to you, in that, yes, from time to time there have been comments made from students, not from teachers, but from students. On one occasion in particular, I was referred to as the devil. But for every comment like that, where I was called the devil, or whatever the case may be, there have been 10, 15, 20 other comments from other students encouraging me and thanking me for my point of view, for my stance, for the fact that I am encouraging gay rights and human rights in general. And much of the time, these comments, these words of encouragement are coming from allies that they would have been the last people I would have expected to be allies. So young girls wearing hijabs, for example. So I think, in spite of the fact that, yes, your students may be religious, that doesn't necessarily mean that they won't be allies for your cause. Thank you.
Just looking at our time, I want to make sure that we don't go too far over, so we'll take the last 4 questions at the microphone. I'd ask for some brevity, and because our panel is getting filled up with questions they have to answer almost all at once. So if we go to microphone 1.
Yeah, I just wanted to make a comment. I teach at Victoria Park Collegiate, and I have been the staff advisor to the Anti-Homophobia Alliance for 10 years. We're just celebrating our 10th anniversary this year. And, the club has had ups and downs. It's had members who were very out as gay men, lesbians, and bisexuals. But it's also been a club that has attracted a lot of students who wanted to be there because they wanted to fight homophobia, whatever their sexual orientation was. And in fact, that's primarily who really is part of the club at this point. And I think that we need to be careful about seeing GSAs as a solution, or as they're only part of the solution. And to me, they exist in an environment, in a school environment, where the curriculum needs to be inclusive. The curriculum is everything that goes on in the school, in the classroom, in the hallways, in the cafeteria, outside the school, everything. And when that curriculum is inclusive, and when there are organizations that fight on a number of equity issues, including very strongly around homophobia and heterosexism, then we can have an inclusive school. I think there's a number of contradictions that exist and they're different in different schools and different school cultures around GSAs. And I think we should be aware of what some of those contradictions can be. We need to support GSAs absolutely all the way, but we also need to challenge teachers, and the Ministry of Education has inclusive curriculum as part of their policies, so does the TDSB, so do all boards across the province. We need to be implementing inclusive curriculum in our schools across Ontario.
Thank you for that. Microphone 2.
Okay, I have something very short to say, and it's kind of a quick plug, but it's also a response to one of the comments that was made earlier. I think it's the group called Les Clés in Montreal, or in Quebec in general. I don't know exactly where they exist. Anyway, so in terms of doing anti-homophobia education in schools, that's what I do. The program already exists. It's called Teach. It's amazing. Our staff just happened to be a gay man and a lesbian. Go figure. But our strength is actually that we use youth between the ages of 16 and 23 to do the workshops in the schools. So we do one-off workshops in schools. And please contact us. We go all over the city of Toronto to do these workshops, and they use their own personal stories, both positive and negative, to talk about experiences of homophobia and how it does actually affect everyone. They're not just LGBT youth, they're also straight allies who do this work, and they really, really are the strength of our program, and they can also be really inspirational to other students. So if you want to contact us, it's really easy. Teach, T-E-A-C-H, at PPT, that's Planned Parenthood Toronto.on.ca. Thank you.
Thank you, and I'd ask you to give your contact information to Nick and Casey, and they can put it on the Queer Ontario website. Yeah, I'm telling, sort of advocating for them. Sorry, microphone number 1, please, thanks.
I wanted to say, you know, I've been a performer, a queer performer in schools for probably 30 years, and all over Ontario and throughout Canada. And one of the things has always been that I'm not allowed to say that I'm queer in a school, or I've been told I'm not allowed. I've fought them and said, you know, we've got the Charter of Freedom and Rights and so on. I think that's a really, in terms of culture for people in the schools, is really important. But I think Pamela Dogar's point from Elementary Teachers of Toronto was important when she talked about the intersectionality and how important it was to recognize that, yes, I'm queer, but I also am Native, and I'm also Black, and I'm also working class. And I also come from a poor community. So I think as queer people, when we think about education, we have to think about ourselves as total human beings. We can't simply say we want queer stuff taught from kindergarten to grade 8, and therefore we will have equality, because we won't have it. We have to talk about trans issues. And in our own organizing, tonight, I think it's really important that we have First Nations people as part of this panel, and that we don't ever overlook that, because we have two-spirited First Nations people out there on the streets now, you know? And so, but I think this is a great beginning, and I would like to see, you know, equality and an inclusive kind of, as Pamela had said, intersectional approach to everything. And I'd also like to thank the students for getting up being Catholic queers. I was a Catholic queer in school, and it wasn't easy, but it was nice because it was all girls, right? All right, that's it.
Thank you. I'm going to take the question. Microphone 1, please.
Thank you. I appreciate all of you being here, and I'm proud to be in the audience. Thank you for your courage. I hope you don't mind a quick plug of my own. My name is Justin Trotzier. I work at an educational charity called the Center for Inquiry. We've been following along with what's going on, very supportive, conducting a number of interviews. I did want to say that our organization, to reinforce a number of comments that have been made by panelists and questioners, has a strict policy to defund religious education from government-funded taxpayer dollars across Canada. So we do uncompromisingly believe that the only solution here, there's a pattern and it must stop, is to defund, that is taxpayer funding, private people can fund what they want, the Catholic School Board. We have a number of reasons why we think it's necessary, but it's not just GSAs. We've seen gay students not being allowed to bring their boyfriends to the prom. That almost became a Human Rights Commission case. We've seen books being banned, atheistic literature being banned by the Halton School Board, for example. As an atheist, that offends me. At the Halton Catholic School Board, thank you. We've seen sex ed being compromised. It's just an ongoing pattern. We do feel that's what's necessary. We will be hosting an event. Many of the speakers here and others will be on that a month from today, May 13th, with the CFI Ontario. I do have brochures out on the table, and I would encourage anybody here interested in commenting for our YouTube presence called Think Again TV. I've worked in a lot of plugs, and I apologize for that. To please come see me after the event if you'd like to tell us your story. Thank you.
Thank you. And Nick, did you want to say a word before we went to the panel to answer questions?
Yes, I did.
Okay, can you make it real short?
I'll do my best, Ken. Nick Muley again, and I just wanted to make a comment, and I will direct a question to all the panelists, and it's coming from a different place than how I introduced myself tonight, wearing a different hat. I'm speaking now as a teacher that teaches at the university level, and what I'm raising here is the far implications this issue has, that this has a ripple out effect when students come from high schools that don't have GSAs versus students that come from high schools that do have GSAs, because they then enter those proportion of high school students that go on to post-secondary education, be it college or university. The conflicts that arise in the classroom are quite unbelievable, because what you will get is some students who are very sensitized, who've been exposed to it. They may not fully accept queer people for that matter, but the fact is they've been exposed to it. They've gained some understanding of it, versus other students who come from a background, an environment where it's discouraged and it's seen as, you know, sinful, criminal, you know, all those kinds of things. And the conflicts that arise in the classroom are quite unbelievable. And you know, for those of us who teach in social sciences, it causes a lot of problems. And so this is an argument, and here's where my question comes in. This is an argument that can be used as well when you're going forward with these issues, is that if these issues are not addressed properly at the secondary level, then you are disadvantaging those students, the ones that don't get to have GSAs, or sex education curriculum that's comprehensive, from being able to capture these issues at the post-secondary level. Because once you get there, you're dealing with a far broader student body, and you're going to be challenged in the classroom in that setting. And so it's that ripple out effect that I'm putting forward as an argument and asking, is this something that you're considering as well?
Thank you, and now we'll move to the panelists. I just asked you to sort of pick and choose what questions you're most comfortable responding to, and we can go in random order, so whoever jumps to the mic first. Okay, so Rosarios has to go soon, so we're going to let him start.
Politicians always have to rush. No. I was actually going to leave without answering the question, because I really have to rush. Yeah. Some quick comments on some things. I think what these students have done is to set an example for many more across Ontario. And the fact that their story has been in the media is going to affect and has affected many politicians and others. I want to say that when we introduced Bill 167 in 1993, which was the bill that would give gays, lesbians the same rights that heterosexuals have, even though it didn't pass, and we didn't get much support from the other opposition parties, we didn't get support from 10 of our own, we advanced the cause for the rights that gays and lesbians should have, and that they should deserve the same equality as heterosexuals. Every time these issues come to the fore, we advance, and I think it's good, and it's to their credit that they have the courage to have done that, because more and more will come out, and each time that happens, more rights will have to be given, and more people will have to be ashamed about not giving them the right that they're looking for. On the whole issue of whether or not we should have some groups come to do some of this education in the schools versus teachers, I think that's a supplement, but I think it's important for teachers to actually teach this sex education. And even though some of them are uncomfortable, it's important that they learn to be comfortable, so that all of them are teaching things that they may not want to teach. And if they're not comfortable, they're going to have to learn to do it. So I think they're complementary, and both are good and should be done. The whole idea of pushing corporate Canada, absolutely. Corporate Canada, anybody else for that matter. They're very vulnerable. They understand money. And so when you push them in terms of taking a position, I guarantee that many of them will. So we need to, as we lobby politicians, we should be lobbying the corporations as well, because it does work. The district unions and your union are very supportive. My experience is that most of the unions that I've dealt with are at the top, very, very good.